Heading northwest along the corrugated Unadada track towards William Creek, a brown and white sign marks the turn-off to Lake Eyre National Park. I'll have another 60 kilometres to go before finally standing at the shoreline of Lake Eyre. I'm amazed by the dozens of weary-eyed cattle that call this almost barren rocky landscape their home. I've seen so much footage from documentaries and news clips of this place, raving about the abundant birdlife which arrive after rains. I've pulled up here on the track into northern Lake Eyre at the memorial to Carolyn Gross-Muller, who perished here the 11th of the 12th, 1998. Now, I can't remember all the exact details, but I remember seeing a documentary on this woman. They were a pair of backpackers who came out here. They hired a four-wheel drive camper van and went out camping at the campsite on the lake. They ended up getting their four-wheel drive bogged in the soft sand there, and because they weren't really experienced four-wheel drivers, they didn't really know how to get it out. They didn't have any recovery gear with them. They tried reducing the tyre pressures, but they didn't know by how much to reduce them, so they didn't reduce them enough. The car got stuck. They stayed there a few days waiting to see if anyone come to rescue them. No one ended up coming, so the woman, Caroline, decided to leave her partner behind and try walking back all the way to William Creek Hotel, which is the nearest town basically, anywhere near here. So that's at least a 70-kilometre hike, and I'm assuming it must have been a fairly hot day. Maybe they were out here in summer. And yeah, she took some water supplies with her. Didn't end up making it. This is probably a site where she was found. This goes to show, if you're really not prepared for places like this, it may not seem very far, 70 kilometres, but when it's really hot out here, it's hot. We can get 40-degree days out here. And trying to walk 70 kilometres in that kind of heat, you got no chance. In the end, the partner was found alive. He stayed in the car. He still had plenty of water there, so there's really no reason to leave your car and try and find help. It's probably the best thing you can do is just stay with the car. Out here, there's nothingness. You're not going to find a single person like me. You just look at the clothes I'm wearing. So it's just a shame, you really got to remember, just stay with your car, and you've much better chance of being found. At least you got shelter and any water supplies you may have. The winding track continues, rising upward, until a bend in the road reveals an expansive Martian landscape. I feel this was surely a horrid sight for the first European explorers to set eyes upon this harsh, desolate void. You could almost swear you're on the moon right now. It's insane, a very lunar landscape. All this gibber rock just gives it such a wild feel. It's desolate. This is ABC Bay. Doesn't look much like a bay, but I guess if it had water in it, it would have the correct shape. Otherwise, there's not much here to see. Now, I've pulled up here in the middle of the road just to show you what I mean by corrugations. Each of these humps here is the corrugation. And when you're driving along, your tyres are pounding into each of these. So it just shakes the whole car, like it's insane. The bigger they are, the worse the corrugations and the more chance you are of losing control of your car. If you go too slow, you're basically driving in and out of each of these. The idea is to drive somewhere around about 70, 80 kilometers per hour, so that you're skimming along the surface of each of these, so the tyre doesn't have a time to get into the dips. Unfortunately, the faster you go, the more chance you are of losing control as well, as the steering is really only touching the small bit of surface at the crest of each of these corrugations. So we'll have a quick look here this direction. I'll show you. I reached the Halligan Bay campgrounds. They are humble, with posts and wires delineating the camping and parking areas. Pit toilets and a collarbond shed are the closest thing to luxury out here. The ground has morphed into sand, with low-lying, salt-tolerant shrubs of green and grey, providing habitat for the local birdlife, which chirp in the distance. Good morning and welcome to Lake Eyre North. This is one of the largest salt lakes in Australia, if not the largest. It's dry most of the time, fills up maybe on a sporadic occasion every 50 or so years. There's a very fine salt layer out there on top, you can see on the surface. In some places it's up to about 5 metres deep. Now Lake Eyre has filled only 3 times in the last 150 years. It's a very highly saline environment. All the surface here has a fairly hard crust on top. We've made of salt and other silts. But underneath, once you push down into it, it's just a very moist bog hole of black muck and ooze. If you drive a car out onto it or something like that, you'd break through the top surface. You basically drop down into that and you might never get out. It would trap you. Yeah, it's very oozy stuff. So I get to make some lunch by Lake Eyre. It's plenty of flies around, so see how I go with trying not to eat any flies. Be a simple jats with tomato, chili tuna, onion, cheese and cucumber. It's fairly healthy. There we go, a beautiful meal. Hopefully they won't find me. The sun sets on my second night, the collars stretching up into space. These are the magical nights which draw me to the Outback, where no other soul or the sight of bright city lights can be seen. Please subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Visit my website roamingtheoutback.com for Australian travel destinations, vehicle preparation ideas and gear reviews. If you'd like to help support the creation of new videos, please consider becoming a Patreon. Click on the Patreon button on the screen now. Thanks.